Hi guys, like Dr. Clay Ballard here, and today we're going to take a look at two of the most polar opposite swings on tour when it comes to swing plane and just overall shape of the swing. And it just so happens that these guys are friends. They're part of the Golf Boys as a rap group, I guess you'd call it. But on the left here we have Rickie Fowler, on the right we have Bubba Watson, and literally two completely opposite ways of swinging the club. So what I want to accentuate here is the difference between rotation and elevation in the golf swing and how this can affect your swing. So I'm going to mark the elbow plane here. The elbow plane is a line from the hosel of your club going up through your elbow. It's basically where your club's going to be at impact, or where it should be at impact. It doesn't have to be exact. We're not talking about down to the degree. A lot of people get caught up in exact degrees and angles of this move and that move. It's really more about how you move your body and what that's going to do to the club. So first let's take a look at Rickie. One thing you'll notice, let's ignore the club head for a little bit. So as I mentioned, let's focus on the hands and the body and what he's doing with his body. So his hands are very flat here. We'll notice as he's taking this club back, his hands are very flat and they're almost tracing this plane. And as he gets to the top of the swing, we're seeing that his club is very laid off and that his hands are almost still on this elbow plane. Now, this is almost impossible for most people. Let's go ahead and watch Bubba first, and then I'll talk about why this is impossible for a lot of people. Now, Bubba's going to do the opposite. His hands go very vertical, so look how high his hands get. And if you ever watch a long drive, you know that high hands equals distance, potential distance. So the higher you get your hands, the more potential distance that you can have in your swing. There's a certain point to where too high gets a little bit inconsistent, and we're going to talk about that later in the video, but these are two polar opposites. Now, what I mean by impossible to get in this position, here's Rickie's spine angle, and here's Bubba's spine angle. And what you're going to notice is that Bubba's left arm, I've flipped his swing around here just to make it easier to compare. Bubba's left arm, because he's left-handed here, would be parallel basically to his spine angle. So he has a little bit of a flying elbow here. Rickie would be the exact opposite of it. So his forearm is rotated about 45 degrees outside that line. Now what I want you to do is test yourself. So I'm going to put a picture up on the screen here, and in this picture you can test to see how much rotation you can get. If you can't get past parallel with your spine in this rotation test, your swing's going to look a little bit more like Bubba here. Your forearm's going to look a little bit more like Bubba. If you can get all the way over here like Rickie, 45 degrees outside that vertical line, then you can get into a position like Rickie here, although I wouldn't really recommend that particularly. There's not as much advantage to it. But you can definitely see the differences in how they take the club back and how vertical they take the club back, how high their hands are. Another way to check this, look at the right shoulder. Here's Rickie's right shoulder. His club is about a foot outside his right shoulder. Bubba's right shoulder is just inside or just outside his hand. So his hands are inside his shoulder. So this differences I'm talking about are just differences in the way that they're taking the club back. And we're going to talk about how this affects distance. So Bubba's going up in the backswing. Rickie's going more around his body in the backswing. Now, the advantages of going around would be that your club doesn't have to do a lot to reroute and get back on the impact line or impact plane, the elbow plane. The advantages of going higher up are distance. So the higher our hands get, the farther we're going to be able to hit that ball potentially. And both of these, you'll notice in the downswing here, are actually going to get back to the exact same spot. So let's look at halfway down. Rickie's really dropped his hands. He's super flat here. You got to be super flexible to get in those kind of positions. Halfway down, Bubba getting back down on that plane again too. And then this will be really surprising for most of you, or for some of you out there. Impact perfectly on that line. Let's check out Rickie's swing here. Impact perfectly on that line. So at impact, they're getting down to almost the exact same position. And you have to. If you want to play good golf, you have to get back down into a good impact position or it's going to be tough. Now there are some differences in their swing that we're not going to get into about impact on this review, but you can definitely see the very contrasting ways of swinging a golf club as it relates to swing playing. So the question is, which one is right? Which one should I be looking for? Well, neither really. They're both extreme examples of both ends of the spectrum. We like somewhere in the middle, and I'm going to show you a swing, Adam Scott swing plane here in a second, and show you something a little bit more what you should be aiming for, somewhere in the middle of these two. So some of you out there would say, okay, this is more of a one plane swing, Rickie on the left, this is more of a two plane swing, Bubba on the right. I really don't like those kind of classifications of a golf swing, but that's kind of a general way to think about it. Really, we want to be somewhere in the middle. Guys like Adam Scott, Tiger Woods, Trevor Immelman, these guys are somewhere in the middle. Those have really good biomechanically sound swing. So let's take a look at Adam Scott's swing now so that you can see how he does this move very, very efficiently and kind of give you a baseline for what you should be aiming for. Okay, so here we have Adam Scott. I'm going to draw the same elbow plane in the golf swing. So this is where he's going to be getting back to at impact roughly. And let's talk about the differences. He's kind of somewhere in between the two that we just saw. So as he goes to the top of his swing, what you're going to notice is that his arm is in a pretty good position here. Most of you are going to find that when you did the rotation test, this is about all you could get. And this elbow's nice and in. He's not going to have to drop the club like Bubba had to get way back down to the plane. He's pretty close to being on the plane at the top. His elbow's tucked in. And you'll notice that in relationship to his right shoulder, let's get rid of some of these lines here. In relationship to his right shoulder, the club is just a little bit outside of it at the top, which is pretty good. So he's almost in the perfect position here, maybe just a little bit deep if we're going to get really, really nitpicky with it. But from here, he's between, Bubba was up here in relationship to his right shoulder. He's very high, hands were very far in front of his body. Rickie was out here, so he was way over here, very flat and around his body. And Adam Scott's somewhere in the middle. So the advantage of this, and the reason that we promote this type of swing and these type of moves, is a very common sense reason when we're talking about with the rotary swing. So we know that very high will get you a lot of distance and maybe suffer inconsistency. Very low could be argued that consistency would be gained, but distance would definitely suffer. You're going to have a lot of lag and release and a lot of good hand speed to make up for that distance. Somewhere in between is a great balance of both distance and consistency in the golf swing. And then we'll see as he swings into the downswing, gets right back to where he needs to be, just like we saw with those other guys, right back to the good impact plane on the elbow plane there. So the cool thing about this is that there's a really simple drill that we have on the website that Chuck created on the website called the 5 minutes of the perfect backswing. And I've seen it happen hundreds of times. You can get into a perfect backswing position in minutes, and it's a great drill that'll walk you through it step by step, and it's really, really easy to do. So if you've been getting your hands across the line, if you've got a flying elbow, if you've got all these moves, you're going to get overswinging in the backswing, any of that, it's going to walk you through a great step-by-step process. It's going to help you to get that perfect backswing once and for all. And all you need to do is click this link on the bottom right here. It's going to take you to that video when you sign up for your free membership. Plus you get about 3 hours of bonus instruction on top of that. So go ahead and click this link right now. Go to that video, watch it, and you'll have a great looking backswing in no time. If you're watching this on a mobile device, be sure to click the link in the description below, as you won't see this pop-up box on your mobile device. Good luck to you guys. I look forward to seeing you much more in the future, and good luck with your golf game.